Hello Roosevelt students, this is Mr. Roble. Today I'm going to be doing another video lab with you. Today we're going to be doing the What Causes Seasons lab. If you have the accelerated copy, it does look a little bit different from this one, but for the most part it is the same lab. There is one learning target up at the top. It says, I can explain how the tilt of Earth's axis and the revolution around the sun cause the seasons. As far as the background information goes right here, I'd like you to pause it and read this real quick. It'll take you 20 seconds or so, but this will tell you what it is that we're going to be doing in the lab. Same thing with the materials. I'm not going to read those to you. You can read those. You can pause the video and read those. Just like any time throughout the video, if you miss something or if you need to go back, pause and rewind. Part 1 is really easy. It's very short too. It says, number 1, hold the flashlight about a hand's width directly above the lab table and observe the strength of the light in the center. Hold the flashlight about a hand's width again, the same height, at an angle to the lab table, and observe the strength of the light. In which situation is the light brighter in the center, directly above the lab table, or at an angle? Therefore, in which season do you conclude we have the brightest and most intense light? In which season do you conclude we have the least intense light? So I'm going to show you what that means with a flashlight and with a piece of paper. This isn't going to work as well as if you have this at home. So if you have a flashlight at home, you can try this. But directly overhead, and it's going to have to be at a bit of an angle here, directly overhead you can see how bright or how intense the light is on this piece of paper. And if I turn it a little bit at an angle on the same height from the paper, you can see how it's wider, but it is not as intense. So overhead, it's very concentrated. At an angle, again, it's wider, but it is not as intense. So that's kind of the difference. That's what I want you to look at here. So that's part 1 of the lab. And part 1, just like I said, is very fast. It's very easy. Part 2, we look at, and I'm going to show you some directions for what the apparatus is that we had set up today. So this is the apparatus that we use. There's a light bulb over here that represents the sun, and then we have a globe that represents, obviously, the Earth. We put a temperature probe, we taped it right on the globe, and we didn't tape it over here when we did it. We taped it right over Minnesota because that's where we live. We want to learn a little bit about the seasons, how they change in Minnesota. So that is right over here where we put the temperature probe. And then notice how the axis in this picture, the North Pole, is pointing away from the light bulb. So this first season that we're going to be doing our data on would represent winter in the Northern Hemisphere, because the majority of the sunlight is going to be concentrated right here, which on the globe is the Tropic of Capricorn. So right down here is the Tropic of Capricorn. In the Southern Hemisphere, it would be summer. In the Northern Hemisphere, it would be winter. So that's what we do the first time. For the second time, all we do is we switch the globe 180 degrees. You have to kind of use your imagination here, but the North Pole would be pointing right over here, and when that happens, it is more concentrated on the Tropic of Cancer, which is on the north side of the equator. It's right up here, and that is going to mean that it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere and it's winter in the Southern Hemisphere. So that's what we did. That was our setup, and we have a computer program that kept track of all the data for the lab. So I've already run the lab, and I'm going to show you what the data was for the lab. It looks like this. So over here on the left-hand side, the blue temperature represents summer temperatures. So the starting temperature for the blue temperature, and you're going to need this for your data table, was 23.6 degrees. The final temperature for the summer data, it's way down here at the bottom, 30.1 degrees. For winter, the starting temperature was 23.2 degrees. The finishing temperature, the final temperature, was 24.3 degrees. So you can see in winter, it went up slightly, but not very much, maybe about 1 degree. In summer, it went up quite a bit. So it went up, summer is the blue line, that went up quite a bit. So on your actual lab, which I'll bring back up here, looks like this. For part 2, that's what I just showed you. The beginning temperature is the temperature that we wrote down. Again, it was 23.2, or yeah, we'll do 23.2 because I did winter first. I didn't do summer first. And then you fill in the other temperatures here for winter and summer. On the back side of this lab right here, copy down that graph that I just showed you, exactly how you see it. You're probably going to have to pause the video and copy the graph exactly. After that, there are some analysis questions that you should answer. And like always, if you have any questions, ask your science teacher. And if you need to rewatch this video or go back or rewind or anything, do that. Thanks for watching.